Right, I've been asked a number of times, what software do I use? What applications do I use? And it's really kind of difficult for me to say, oh, this is the best, because I've tried loads of them. I mean, probably 20, 30 different platforms. So today what I'm going to do is just explain a little bit about my journey on understanding those different platforms, what I've used, what I've tested, and why I prefer the platforms that I've now selected to create the digital artists. I'll be honest, I never had a master plan. I kind of went at this a bit like a bull in a china shop. I probably should have sat down and done some research and probably looked at different platforms, but I didn't. I kind of went, I'll have a go at that one. I'll have a go at that one. Right at the start, I was just using ChatGPT to create the images. The very first videos, and some of them are still on the channel, were just the image of the country singer, usually in black and white, sometimes color. The color was awful, to be honest, but at the time, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, this is only sort of 9 months ago when I first started creating some of the video content. And prior to that, when I did the training course, and I thought then it was great. I could create these images that went along with a video without having to use somebody or use photographs or use a real person. And at the time, that was okay, because everybody else was doing the same. But even over just the last 7 months, the technology and the platforms and the software has moved on significantly. And this is why I think some of the social media channels are now beginning to crack down, because 7 months ago, you could tell it was AI. I mean, 100%, that's AI. It's got extra fingers, the color is wrong, the hair doesn't move, the eyes don't move, all of those kind of things. But when you create video now, just only 7 months on from when I started, it's beginning to look a little bit real. Now, obviously with the vampire videos that we create, they're never going to be real because vampires don't exist. But even with the fangs and the blood now looks quite realistic. So with the vampire channel and with the Twisted Demons, we actually mark that now as explicit content with a parent warning, because we feel that AI has moved on to a point where you could look at something and take a double take, not knowing that it was AI. Now, obviously on YouTube, I mark every single channel with AI generated synthetic content. Every video is marked with a little switch on YouTube. But I'll talk about that a little bit more in another video, because originally I didn't do that and I kind of suffered for it, but I'll give a better explanation of that. But let's get on to the tooling and some of the applications that I've used. As I said before, I started with ChatGPT images because it was there in front of me, basically. And I was using ChatGPT to write video descriptions and posts. So it sort of just made sense, really. Then I discovered Runway, and I just thought that was amazing. I just thought, this is a completely revolutionizing platform. This is amazing. I soon sort of fell out of love with Runway because it just ate my credits at a rapid rate and gave me, I would say 50% of the images were good and say about 20% of the video was acceptable. But the movement was wrong. The guitar playing was wrong. There were too many fingers. It didn't really matter because, again, this is where we were at the time. But I just found it to be quite expensive to actually create video content. Now, I could probably go back to Runway now and it'll be much, much better because, again, that was an earlier model. But I just found it got a little bit expensive and I was repeating myself over and over again just to get sort of usable content. Then a little while after sort of Runway, I went back to just creating images with ChatGPT because that worked and it was a comfortable place to be. I'd sort of done some video, but it didn't feel right. It just felt very plastic. The skin tones were wrong. Again, movement was all over the place. So it just became a very expensive way to create video content for YouTube for the music videos. So I stopped doing that. I didn't think it was a good use of my time and definitely not a good use of my money. But after Runway, I still needed a better image platform. I was getting a little bit bored of ChatGPT images. So I found a Chinese platform called AITubo. I think it's meant to be turbo, but there's no R in it. So it's Tubo, AITubo, and it was brilliant. Again, I rapidly fell in love with it. It was cheap. It was very cost effective and it built really, really good images. there were lots and lots of image models on there, and some of the early ones you got, broken content, 9 fingers, all of those kind of things. But some of the newer models, some of the models that AITubo had created, or I call it AITubo, but it's AITubo, had created, were really good. But I settled on Flux and Flux 1.1 because that gave me the most realistic view of what looked like a performing artist. So I could create prompts that showed the artist on stage. I could create prompts that showed the artist in a recording studio, in a photo studio, in just a rural setting. Especially with the country singer, I was creating imagery of the kind of countryside and her stood by a fence, sat on a porch, those kind of things. And they were quite realistic. So basically, Flux 1.1 was my go-to for quite a long time, probably 3 or 4 months. And then in November 24, a new platform arrived that was still very much beta called LTX. And I just thought it was amazing, not because of the video quality, but just of the workflow that LTX was going to offer and already started to offer. The fact that you could create a script for the song. So basically my process was to take the lyrics of a song, give that to ChatGPT or Gemini, ask it to then create a story from that song. And then I would take that story and create a video sort of dialogue in frames and scenes. So I'd create 5 scenes with 10 frames each relating to the story. And then I would post that into LTX and it would generate me probably 50 scenes. At the time, I think we could only do 5 seconds per video. So it would generate me 50 scenes that related to the song, that stepped through the song. I would then create all of the video clips by just pressing the button. Obviously, there was a bit of rework because, again, early video, extra fingers and all of those kind of things, and blurred and motion. But I was actually then generating full song videos. And if you look on the Cassidy James channel at one of the kind of earlier videos, there's a song called Rivers Run Deep, and that's all generated through LTX. From scene to scene, I just posted the song, I just posted the story, and that then gave me what I needed to be a video. Now, again, quality isn't perfect. There are, again, a few extra fingers on the guitar. I think one of the guitar scenes has only got 5 strings. But it's AI, and it's about the journey, and it's about showing what you can create. I think if you wait for perfect, then you're never going to get started. So my journey has been very messy, it's chaotic, it's been all over the place, but I've enjoyed kind of using the different tools. So my 2 go-to at the time then were LTX and AITubo. Since then, I've cancelled AITubo, and only because LTX now supports Flux, also supports Z-Image, which is just phenomenal. And it also supports Nano Banana 3. So the image quality now inside LTX is amazing. That's all I can say. It's just amazing. So I now focus all my spend actually on LTX, and I have the professional subscription or the medium professional subscription, which is about $150 a month. And just to reiterate, if I've not said it already, I am not affiliated to any of these companies. So my go-to is LTX, but LTX doesn't do lip syncing. It doesn't give me that ability to show the artist singing. So I then went on a bit of a hunt to find a good lip syncing platform, and I tried several, and most of them were pretty awful, especially for music. If you want to do voiceover, great. There are loads that will do voiceover for you. But if you want to do actual movement and singing on stage, then you're very limited, because the artists looked like they were high on drugs, to be honest. There was no movement, no face movement, no eye movement. The lips would just move to the lyrics. So I tested Vozo, and I was reasonably happy with Vozo. It did a reasonable job. It wasn't perfect, but I put some content out with Vozo doing the lip sync, and yeah, it was average. I then found a new lip sync platform called LemonSlice, which kind of blew me away. That is actually designed as well to support AI music artists with lip syncing. So you actually upload your AI music song, pick your high resolution. You can pick actually both video and image. I tended to work with image using LemonSlice, and I used the 2.7 model because I got the best results. Now, I have got good results from just using a video clip and cutting the song and generating several bits of video clip. But it didn't kind of inspire me enough to kind of say, yeah, the 2.5 model on LemonSlice is probably okay. But the 2.7 model, and again, if you look at Harper Johnson or the Cassidy James channel, you will see that a lot of the studio lip sync footage is actually with the 2.7 model on LemonSlice. So just to reiterate, my go-to, I've used multiple applications, ChatGPT, Runway, AITubo, tried various other image platforms as well, but I've now settled on LTX and LemonSlice. And I am hoping that LTX will at some point add the ability to do lip syncing with music. They do lip syncing with voiceover, but it doesn't obviously do the artist bit. And that would be kind of really good, because if there was a section that said, hey, make music video, then, you know, with all of the kind of workflow it's got of creating the whole video, it would be absolutely fantastic then to be able to do the voice lip syncing as well. But it might come. I'm not associated to LTX, and I'm not associated to LemonSlice either. But I hope that's been of some use. Let me know in the comments what you've been using, what your go-to is, what applications you prefer. I know there are so many to pick from, and I think that choice is only going to get bigger as we progress down the sort of avenue of creating AI content. So that's probably it for this one. I'm a big fan of LTX and LemonSlice. So drop me a comment, give me a like and all of that kind of stuff if you're on the AI journey for creating AI content and AI music. And I will see you for the next one.